Hello everyone! Welcome to another project analysis series. Today we are going to talk about Lentor Central Residences. The biggest question that any buyer that want to consider into the Lentor Hills Estate is the amount of units, the amount of new launches that are being sold at the same time in this area. How is today's video going to be different from the other videos that you are seeing online is today's analysis, we are not only going to talk about price. The main thing that we want to focus on, especially if we are going into an area whereby there is a lot of supply of launches. So being in an area whereby there are a lot of units means that today as a buyer, the first thing that you want to focus on is, does the unit that you are considering today going to stand out among the competition? Meaning 3 to 4 years down the road when all the condos TOP and launch and some are sold in the resale market, right? Is yours going to stand out? Which is why today's video I have a few things that I will cover apart from the individual units of Lentor Central. I'll also be laying out all the different layouts based on the different launches and comparing it side by side with you so that you have clarity in terms of today, if you're considering Lentor Central, then is your unit actually going to stand out in the future? Without further ado, let's go into some of the basic information first. So, because there's so much groundwork that needs to be done, right? Would you take a moment to actually subscribe to my channel so that more people can benefit from my content? At the same time, do join my community on my Telegram channel because being in my community will mean that you have real-life updates of the bounce-out units from any new launches, or when there is any property news that you will want to keep up to date, or my personal opinions, which sometimes does not come in the form of videos. Here are some project info that we are going to talk about today. So, Lentor Central Residences is going to TOP estimated in about 2030. There are a total of 477 units. Based on the entire Lentor Hills Estate, Lentor Central is actually the 6th project that will be launched in this entire area. So like I said, a lot of supply in this area. How is the unit type that you're going to buy into going to stand out among the others or not? So this is something that we will touch on today. For Lentor Central, all the units are actually separated by 2 blocks, Block 20, Block 18. But there is only 2 main facings, which is the north side facing and the south side facing. The north side facing is actually facing the other residential units. The south side will be facing Hillock Park. So in this sense, between the south and north facing, the south will actually command a premium over the north facing. But of course, based on the units that are located here, which is Stack 12, 11, 10, 18 and 17, the lower floor units will be facing the pool view. So for the 1 bedroom, there is 2 different unit types, the type 1A and type 1B. Both are at 463 square feet. The main difference between these 2 unit types are actually the facing, whereby the type 1A is facing the pool, the type 1B will be facing towards the residential blocks. So between 1A to B, I do feel that 1A will command a slight premium over 1B. So the last 1 bedroom type is the 1 plus study, which is the type 1C. The main difference between this unit type versus the other 2 before is actually the study area. But of course, based on the 1 plus study, right, there are only 2 units and they are all ground floor units. But the 1 plus study units over here actually has one of the best layout in a sense whereby they have an enclosable kitchen and they come with a segregated study over here. So based on this 1 bedroom summary, right, we can see that the 1 bedroom in general are actually smaller as compared to most of the 1 bedrooms that are being launched in the market, whereby they are 500 over square feet. Because the size is smaller than other launches, this actually translates to a lower quantum and potentially higher rental yield. So later on, I will actually work out the sums with you. The first thing we want to actually look at is in the entire Lentor area. Because people who come into Lentor before they want to consider this area, the biggest question is, this area has a lot of units. So is there an oversupply of units over here which will make my exit going to be more difficult? So over here in the entire Lentor 1-bedroom supply, right, there are only 8%. Is Lentor going to be oversupply or not? So to give you some perspective, let us look into the supply of the Hougang area first. So in the entire Hougang area, the 1-bedroom and the 1+ study, the total number of units is 2,167 units out of 10,000 residential units. So this works out to about 20%, which in perspective is quite a lot as compared to in the Lentor Hills Estate, which is right where we are talking about today. There are actually no 1-bedrooms in Thomson area, and also for Meadows of Peers, only 52 units right here. And if you look into the property portals, you'll notice that there are actually not many units for sale. Just now earlier on whereby it's 20% in Hougang, right? Actually, if we base on this comparison, I would feel that in terms of the 1-bedrooms, there are actually not too much of a supply. So in terms of supply, we can see that 1-bedrooms in this area, there is not a lot to begin with. But right now, we actually want to work out the calculation to see whether in terms of investment standpoint, does it really make sense or not. Let's look at Meadow Piers, which is the rental property mentioned earlier. Their estimated rental per month averagely is about $2,942 for their 1-bedroom. As for their 2 bedrooms, their estimated rental is $3,466 per month. Why I actually want to work this out is because Lentor Central Residences 1-bedrooms is actually 463 square feet. And 463 square feet in comparison is actually pretty similar to Lentor Mansion's 2-bed 1-bath. Lentor Mansion is actually the last launch which came up in the entire Lentor Hills Estate. Their smallest unit was actually the 2-bed 1-bath at 527 square feet. So between Lentor Central's 1-bedroom, 463 square feet versus Lentor Mansion's 2-bed 1-bath at 527 square feet, we can already see that there is not too much difference in terms of size. So then it will also be a concern to me because if the size is very similar, then it might affect our exit strategy as well, right? Which is why I actually worked out based on the estimated price, right? What is actually the average rental going to be? Because let's not forget, next time if you are going to sell Lentor Central's 1-bedroom, you are potentially going to sell to the next investor, which is going to be very particular about numbers. So take for example, if we base on Lentor Central Residences, their 1-bedroom, 463 square feet, their estimated price, let's say based on $2,300 per square foot, is actually 1.064 million. Using the average rental from Meadows at Piers, which is $2,942 per month, their average yield per month is about 3.3%. This is based on a price that has not been marked up, even though Lentor Central is supposed to be newer and also much closer to the MRT. The next comparison we want to do is based on Lentor Mansion 2-bed 1-bath 527 square feet. Their average purchase price is $1.2 million. Using also the rental from Meadow at Piers, which is $3,466 per month, the yield is 3.4%. So if today you are very concerned in terms of next time if I want to exit, is the yield going to affect my exit strategy or not? Based on these two examples, we can see that not really so. The second thing is based on Lentor Central Residences, if let's say your entry price is about $900 plus to $1.1 million, I will feel that it is still a price that in today's new launch market, you will not be able to find a 1-bedroom at this price. For me, I feel that Lentor Central Residences 1-bedroom is still something that you can consider. Just be very mindful that during launch, if let's say your queue number is at the back or if you are at the stage whereby most of the units are being sold already, then the entry price for Lentor Central Residences, potentially a pool view high floor unit, right, might be very similar to a Lentor Mansion's 2-bed 1-bath. Then in this sense, this might also potentially affect your exit strategy in the future. Next, let us look at the 2-bedroom analysis. So for 2 bedrooms, the smallest unit type for Lentor Central is actually a 2-bed 2-bath. There are no 2-bed 1-bath here. Let us look at the 2-bed 2-bath first. You can see that there are 3 unit types over here from 2A to 2C. I feel that the Lentor Central's developer actually do a very good job in terms of how they actually configure the 2-bed 2-bath. Most of them are actually the dumbbell except for type B2, which is the traditional floor plan. So usually between the traditional floor plan and dumbbell layout, there is a big gap of size due to the corridor space. But in this case for Lentor Central, right, 678 and 689, there is only a difference of about 10 square feet. So I will feel that the entry price comparison between these two layouts will not be such a big difference, which is why I will feel that my preference will be the type 2B. The next thing we want to do is do a competitive analysis based on the entire Lentor area. So based on the entire 2 bedrooms supply in the Lentor area, right, there are about 977 2-bedroom units excluding Lentor Central's 2 bedrooms. And that works out to be about 40% of the entire unit mix in the Lentor estate. So if I were to see in Lentor Central, there is still about 44% of units that the developer has advocated for the 2 bedrooms in this development. Which means what? Which means today, if you select 2 bedrooms in this area, it is very important for you to be paying attention to how competitive your unit is going to be. Which is why in today's analysis, I took some time to place all the comparable floor plans with very similar square feet to show you what is your positioning like as compared to most of the units available. So 678 square feet, this is Lentor Central, which is the dumbbell layout. I think the good thing about Lentor Central, like what I mentioned, is the enclosable kitchen. If I compare it to Hillock Green side by side, you can already see that Lentor Central has a much better floor plan in comparison because Hillock Green's kitchen is actually a kitchenette along the walkway. The next one we want to compare is Lentor Mansion. So Lentor Mansion, even though 657 square feet is a dumbbell layout, is also a kitchenette along the walkway. The last one we want to compare is actually Lentoria, the biggest 2-bedroom unit over here, 700 square feet. Same thing goes, even though they are all dumbbell layout, but you can see that this is also a kitchenette along the walkway. So if I were to compare between these 4 condos side by side, we can see that Lentor Central actually has one of the best floor plan because of its enclosable kitchen. So now I'm going to compare it to the last 2 launches, which is Lentor Modern and Lentor Hills. Lentor Modern actually based on 678 square feet, even though it has a flexi room, but this is actually a 2-bed 1-bath. So bed 1-bath versus 2-bed 2-bath, I feel that is still something that we cannot really compare lah. With that being said, even if you like Lentor Modern's floor plan, right, this has already been fully sold out. The transacted prices is actually between $1.35 to $1.67 million. As for Lentor Hills, which is 678 square feet, this is the floor plan that is the most similar to Lentor Central. So both is actually same in size. The transacted price is between 1.36 million to 1.52 million. Actually from here, right, if we do a comparison of the prices between these 2 condos, which has all been fully sold out, we can see one thing. Today, based on 1.35 to 1.67 million dollars, right, Lentor Central will be commanding a very similar price. If let's say right now the prices start from 1.35 million, it is also very highly likely which will happen based on today's launch prices, something that has already been transacted and accepted already. For these 2 layouts, all the unit types for the 2-bed 2-bath has already been fully sold. And the good thing is, you can see that there is a big price gap between the cheapest unit and the highest price unit. The cheapest unit, of course, I will feel that is during the initial stages during launch, whereby buyers go in and buy. Actually, the highest price unit, how did they actually got a chance to transact? It's because buyers have no choice, got no supply in that area, no units to buy. That's why eventually the prices actually go all the way up to 1.52 to 1.67 million. And how is it going to benefit you if today you are looking into Lentor Central? And that is today if you are buying between 1.35 to even 1.4 million dollars, right? this price is still something that you potentially will be able to get in Lentor Central. And the best thing is you already have benchmark prices that other buyers have transacted for you, and this can actually allow you to have a longer runway for growth. Next, let us look at the 2 plus study. So for 2 bedroom plus study, there are quite a few different floor plans, 2D all the way to type 2G. Likewise, comparing this to the 2 bedroom premium, the main difference is actually the study area, and the layout difference between all these unit types is probably the placement of where the study is and the foyer area. The size range from 786 square feet all the way to 797 square feet. This is in fact the Showflat unit. So if you have been to the Showflat, or if you are going to visit the Showflat, go to the 2 bedroom plus study. I think anybody who go in, right, will really like how the configuration of the entire space is. In fact, we were talking about it and saying that the study can most probably fit in a small bed. However, is this actually something that is worth it or not? When I look at this 786 square feet unit, this is very similar to the last launch, which is Lentor Mansions. Both are actually the same size at 786 square feet, except that the Lentor Mansions developer managed to squeeze in a 3rd bedroom because this is a 3-bedroom dumbbell unit. If I look at the price that has been transacted here, between 1.7 to 1.925 million, the per square foot averagely is about 2,001 all the way to 2,400 per square foot, which I feel is potentially what Lentor Central's 2 plus study potentially going to be launched at. So if both is at the same price, then I feel that the 2 plus study, even though the layout is very nice, it might be very hard for you to exit if there is a lot of 3-bedroom compacts in the market for Lentor Mansion. Just to sum up, my top choice unit for the 2-bedroom will be the Type 2B 689 square feet traditional layout, because this traditional layout comes with a perfect enclosable kitchen. The livability of this is very nice. It is a sweet spot for 2-bedroom upgraders. And also, for this 2-bedroom, there is not excessive corridor area that is being wasted. The size difference between the dumbbell layout and the traditional layout is very close in terms of size. So this floor plan, if we were to compare in the Lentor Central, it is already rare. But if we were to compare at a wider scope, right, we can already see that this is something that is not actually very common in Lentor Hills Estate. I've done a calculation in the entire Lentor Hills Estate. For the 2-bedroom layouts, if you want to look at the dumbbell layout, there are about 718 units. And for the traditional floor plan, there is only 249 units of such. I'm not forgetting, in these 249 units, right, there are also a lot of units that does not have this fully enclosable kitchen. Most of the units for 2 bedrooms come with the open concept kitchen. For the 3-bedroom, there is only one unit type, which is the Type 3A 915 square feet. So this 915 square feet, 2 main facings, which is on stack 7, this is facing the residential blocks, and stack 12, which the lower floors will be able to look at the pool area. So based on this 915 square feet unit, I think developers really done a very good job. The big units are actually my favorite in Lentor Central Residences. Let's look at this unit type first. So Lentor Central, the 3-bedroom compact, right? This kitchen actually comes with its individual window, but the good thing is also the glass panel over here. It is actually the whole stretch, meaning which this will actually allow light to come into the kitchen area, meaning which your kitchen will not be so dark. They also provided a store area over here, which I feel that you can possibly put in your vacuum cleaner, you put in your iron board and such. It is a nice touch to a 3-bedroom compact, something that many 3-bedrooms do not have, especially in a harmonized project. In terms of price point, I think it is going to be one of the most attractive. They were saying that the prices are going to start at about 2,050 to 2,100 per square foot. If we base on 2,050 is less than $1.9 million. If we base on 2.1 per square foot, that is $1.9 million. I think at $1.9 million, you are able to find such a good size unit. They have windows in the kitchen, the bathrooms, they have very sizable bedrooms. Nothing to complain for this layout, but yet the price point, entry price is so affordable. Next, we want to compare also in terms of the surrounding projects. First, we want to do a comparison between Lentor Central and the two other launches, which is Hillock Green and Lentor. For these two floor plans, we just focus on the kitchen area because this is where the main difference is. The kitchen for Hillock Green is actually going to be darker as compared to Lentor Central, whereby there's glass panel here, and this one is solid wall. The next one is Lentor. Lentor's kitchen is not even a fully enclosable kitchen. So I think in this sense, definitely not comparable at all. The next one we want to see is Lentor Modern, Lentor Hills and Lentor Mansion. Why I actually want to put all these floor plans together is because these three floor plans are more comparable to the 3-bedroom compact for Lentor Central. So the only thing that is probably going to win Lentor Central is the flexi room. The next one is Lentor Hills, 958 square feet. I feel that this floor plan is so much similar to Lentor Central, except for the kitchen area, this DB box, which actually will result in the kitchen being slightly darker in comparison to Lentor Central. Last one will be Lentor Mansion. Lentor Mansion's kitchen is a little bit different in terms of configuration, whereby you probably need to do up your own door. But of course, Lentor Mansion also has their own flexi room. Why do I actually want to put these three floor plans together to compare is because we also want to know in the future when we want to sell in the resale market, how well are we going to do as comparison? Because naturally, the resale buyers will want to look into all these launches and pick out the best one. So with this floor plan, we also want to look at the entry price. You can see that the transacted price for Lentor Modern all the way to Lentor Mansion, the lowest price is at 1.822 all the way up to 2.163 million, which is the highest price in the entire Lentor estate. Why I actually want to bring up this is because earlier on I touched on that the starting price estimated should be about 1.9 million for Lentor Central. So if based on 1.9 million, if you're buying into this area, I think the good thing is there are already transactions that have been accepted and done in all the specific past launches. Which means today, if you're able to get a unit at 1.9 million, actually your runway for growth is quite long. It's actually quite safe. Why? Because people already bought at 2.1 million. The next time, you just have to sell at 2.1 million, and your safety margin is already $200,000. But of course, all these buyers who bought at 2.1 million, they possibly will not sell at 2.1, right? They want to sell at much higher. Based on a unit that has already been transacted before, I feel Lentor Central has one of the safest entry price if you want to compare to the other launches that is available right now. Next, let us look at the 3-bedroom premium. There are two main unit types, which is the Type 3B and Type 3C, both at 1076 square feet. Both are actually the park-facing units. For this floor plan, I feel that it is still a very nice layout. The developers plan it in a very nice way, whereby even the WC also has its own individual window. Of course, the kitchen, the bathrooms all have their individual windows as well. Bedrooms and living room size, all very good size. However, this 1076 square feet is a little bit too close in terms of the size difference as compared to the 4 bedrooms. So in conclusion, if today you are budget conscious between the 3-bedroom and the 3-bedroom premium, I will most prefer the 915 square feet. 1076 square feet, the floor plan is equally good if you are looking at for your own stay. I mean, if today you need a household shelter, you need your own yard and WC, right? Then the 1076 square feet is also a very nice floor plan. But just bear in mind, during launch day, you do have to be very careful in terms of the entry price that you are entering at. Let's say during launch, you do have to compare it to the 4-bedroom prices. Based on these prices, you do need to be a little bit more mindful. If let's say the developers are launching very similar per square foot, then it might have a chance whereby the price gap between 3-bedroom premium versus 4-bedroom is going to be very close. So if let's say for example, 3-bedroom premium developers are going to launch at about 2,200 per square foot versus 4-bedroom which developers are going to launch about 2,001 per square foot. The price gap is actually very close, but essentially you get an additional 4th bedroom. So in that sense, if let's say the price gap is very narrow, then you do have to consider to go to the 4-bedroom as that will be safer for you as well. Lastly, let us look at the 4-bedroom. So for 4-bedroom, 2 different unit types. Let us look at the smallest 4-bedroom, which is 1184 square feet. Developers have actually done it so well. In fact, this is also my favorite floor plan. The 4 bedrooms are all my favorite floor plans. For 1184 square feet, they managed to squeeze in a proper WC with yard and a household shelter. All 4 bedrooms actually face the same side, which means that today if you're located on Stack 8, all your bedrooms will actually face the pool view. If you're located on Stack 13, you are all facing the park view. So you don't have any 4th bedroom that is inner facing the other units, which is what I like. The downside about this floor plan is all the bedrooms here will only get to 1 bathroom to share. And last, let us look at the 4-bedroom premium, which is the 1399 square feet. The 1399 square feet unit as compared to the previous smaller 4-bedroom is this living room actually comes with a wide frontage living area. In fact, this living room is 5.35 meters. One of the widest landscape format in the entire Lentor Hills Estate. This 4-bedroom also comes with 2 individual storeroom. One which in the Showflat, they actually put in a bed because this storeroom actually comes with ventilation, meaning which your helper can actually stay inside. And this layout is good because sometimes if we want our helper to stay in the storeroom, then we have to compromise on our storage space. But for this floor plan, you don't have to do so because they have 2 individual storerooms for you to plan out your space. Then for the bedroom, they also have a very nice touch. The master bedroom comes with a walk-in closet. And for these 4 bedrooms, they actually come with 3 bathrooms, which means that this over here, the 4th bedroom, will act as a junior master suite. The downside about this floor plan is this 4th bedroom is going to face the inside of the project, which means that this 4th bedroom is going to face another unit, right? Likewise, going to do another comparative analysis for the 4 bedrooms. First one we want to compare is between Lentor Mansion and Lentoria. These two floor plans definitely cannot be compared because first thing when we come in is a portrait living format. In terms of space planning, it's definitely not comparable. The next one I want to compare is between Hillock Green and Lentor Hills, which in my opinion has one of the nicest floor plans in the entire Lentor area. In fact, before Lentor Central was launched, Lentor Hills was my favorite and I actually asked my buyer to buy after we did a very thorough analysis for the Lentor Hills Estate because this is the only layout that will stand out of all the units that's available. So first we look at the Hillock Green's 4 bedrooms. This likewise has 4.99 meters landscape living format. As for Lentor Hills, 5.5 meters. So between Lentor Hills and Lentor Central, very, very comparable. They also both have 2 storerooms, which is something that Hillock Green doesn't have. So in terms of supply, I've done my research. For Lentor Hills Residences, the 1399 square feet was the first unit type that was being sold out during launch. And for this individual unit type, there are only 16 units in the entire area. So for Lentor Central, if I'm not wrong, this unit type only 56 units. So if I were to add up 60 plus units in the Lentor area. So when we want to buy into units like this, what is the most important? We want to make sure that future buyers will like to stay inside. I feel that whatever that Lentor Central has in terms of layout, it ticks all the boxes for the future resale buyers. Why do I actually say so is because if I want to compare between Lentor Hills, Lentor Hills already has 2 different kinds of floor plates. 4 bedrooms, 1,300 plus square feet. But the way that the developers configure the floor plan is so different. This is actually the portrait format, 3.5 meters. Although both have 2 storerooms individually, but when a buyer walks into this floor plan, the feeling that they will have as compared to this floor plan on my right is very different, because a landscape format living room will always create a very spacious and open feeling. 4 bedrooms buyers tend to want to prefer layouts that give them a very luxurious feeling, which is something that only a wide frontage living room will be able to provide. So like what I mentioned just now, in the entire Lentor area, only 16 units of such, which is in the Lentor Hills Residences, fully sold out already. So today, if you want to find something that is wide frontage living room, the next one that you can go for will be Lentor Central. But between the 4 bedrooms and 4 bedroom premium, if today you have that budget, to consider it as investment, which has better ROI. So I took a nearby project, which is Jadescape. Their 4 bedrooms actually have already been transacted for the smaller 4 bed and the 4 bedroom premium. So the 1259 square feet 4 bedroom is actually the one with the portrait living room, and the 1647 square feet layout is actually the one with a landscape living room. So you can see over here that although all make very good profits, the ROI for the smaller 4 bedroom is 139 to 149%. Whereas for 1647 square feet, the ROI is 141%. I would say that the ROI in comparison is very similar, but due to the difference in the sizes, it actually means that for a 1647 square feet, if you want to buy into something like this, you would definitely need to put in a lot more cash and down payment as compared to the smallest unit. So if you are somebody who is looking as investment, you want to minimize your cash outlay as much as possible, then we can compare between the 1184 and 1399 square feet unit. You can just go for the smallest 4 bedroom to maximize your ROI and minimize your cash outlay as much as possible. Okay, just to conclude, Lentor Central is going to launch on the 22nd of February. If you would wish to book a preview session, then do reach out to me and my contact method, which is right here. Do remember to join my community in my Telegram channel, because that is where I'll share up-to-dates, sometimes bounce out units from the relevant new launches that sometimes might not be able to appear online as well. With that, I end off today's analysis series. I will see you in my next video.